as we jump into Creator versus KeeN here. Does anyone else feel like the color on the red is like darker than usual on the scoreboard? I don't know if it's just like this map or something I haven't noticed before. It's just kind of weird. Anyways, let's get this going. To the top left-hand side, our blue Protoss player is Creator, as we get this set to go. In the bottom right, our red Terran player, KeeN. Again, best of 3s all the way up until the finals, which will be a best of 5. So we have 2 best of 3s left and a best of 5 final. So we're going to be having Creator versus KeeN, Super versus Rogue, and a final afterwards. I would say that a mirror matchup final is actually kind of unlikely here, because obviously that would be something like a maybe like Creator and Super win, which I don't think Creator is necessarily not going to win against KeeN, but I would call kind of Super winning against Rogue a bit of an upset. So I'd say a fairly unlikely PvP finals, but let's wait and see what we get. And let's see what this PvT brings us to start things off as well, as we get this underway. So, getting this started and seeing what's going to happen. How's everyone doing out in the chat today? Again, I know a lot of you guys have been very quiet. Please do check out that Matcherino page, as mentioned a few times already. Matcherino is absolutely the way to support this tournament, so please do check that out. It's very easy to support. There's lots of free ways to add money to the prize pool. You can help massively by just doing a little bit of supporting. So do check that out. And yeah, just waiting to get this underway in the next few moments. So we'll look to see what goes on. Probe pulling back to the upper left-hand side is going to go for a wander up in towards the main base. Going back home is going to build up the robo facility. Obviously, as Creator's come across the map to scout early, he just sees that there is indeed an expansion. He forced this a little bit out of position. You have the Adept going to be able to chase that Reaper down out through the center of the map. So Adept is actually going to shade after that Reaper and is actually going to be able to already get the first shot on it. So yeah, just continue to chase this down as much as possible. What's up, Manakino? Thank you so much for the 7-month resub. Says, come on guys, contribute more. Manakino the Legend actually opened up the contributions on the Summer Championship page with a big $50. Don't think we mentioned that on the stream before now, so thank you so much for that. Much appreciated. As we set this up again, just going to be seeing the Reaper looking around, gets a full scout at the main base though. I mean, he's got to be really happy with this. Reaper is going to die. Multiple Adepts here. Gets another nice little bop on the probes though, slows down mining by just a few moments. Nicely done. 2 gateways coming down on the natural expansion, and we are just going to be seeing the starport on the way up in the main base. Again, that starport up and running. A couple more Marines popping out, a couple more SCVs coming through. This command center in the main also going to be finishing in the next little bit. So, third CC coming up already from KeeN. So it's a super fast third CC actually. A really fast third base. Very interesting choice from him. Usually it's the Protoss that takes that third base so much faster nowadays. So it's going to be a very safe build from KeeN actually overall as well. While it is a fast third CC, when I say safe, no, it's a Cyclone, it's a Siege Tank. It's not a Widow Mine drop going across the map. It's a lot of units that are going to sit back and defend, rather than a lot of units that will go across the map and be a bit more aggressive in the early stages. So, changing things up a little bit here. As you see that Rover Bay dropping down the main. Double Forge dropping in as well. So we're going to see 2 Forges on the way up. And yeah, this Raven just continuing along, also coming out of this starport. 2 more barracks being built up too. I mean, again, it's everything you kind of expect to see out of KeeN, considering the fact he's gone for a faster third CSC. Obviously now eventually getting up in towards those extra barracks and so on helps quite a lot. So yeah, at the same time though, I feel like Creator with the Scout has been able to respond very well. I mean, we're talking about the double forges, obviously very greedy, with a Robo Bay and a third Nexus at the same time. Usually if you play Colossus, you wouldn't get double forge, you'd probably go like single forge Robo Bay, and you'd take like a 6, 7, 8 minute third base. I mean, yes, Thunderbird's a bit of a safe map to defend on anyways because of the single ramp up into the bases, but this is really just truly a response to scouting. Oh, you're on free CC already? Okay, cool. Well, I'm going to do everything. And that's why generally Terran players don't play the super fast free bases, because it's very, it's very easy to behind, even though you're trying to be greedy, because it's so easy for the pro player to be even greedier. And there's only so much greed you can do as the Terran, because the other issues with taking a third base super fast is if the pros decides to get aggressive and you actually are going all-out greed, you will just die to attacks. Like, you will just die to attacks. So you have to be really, really careful here as we do set this up. I mean, like, KeeN's setup right now is, if he'd thrown down double engineering bay a lot sooner before barracks and so on and, creator attacks, he just dies. So there's only so much you can do as KeeN. That said as well, you don't necessarily need double engineering bay that much earlier as the Terran player, because you kind of want things to kind of line up with the other upgrades anyways. We'll see what KeeN gets going for himself in terms of a bit of a push perhaps. Obviously he does have the Raven that can take Colossus out of action if you would like to when you go across the map, so that's definitely a possibility of something that might happen here. Definitely some potential for aggression out of KeeN, so watching to see what will come from that, perhaps if he wants to move across the map, or if he really is just going to sit back and try and defend this, because, I mean, at the moment I really feel like if he just sits back, he is getting out macro. But again, like, those upgrades are just 2-2 already starting, probably being chrono boosted as well. It's another one of the things, right? You can just throw a chrono boost so easily into things that aren't going to help you defend, right? You don't need a chrono boost out Colossus necessarily as much, or you don't need to defend the Lance as fast, because you can just throw chronos into the into the forges, because you just want to get those upgrades faster, which will help you later in the game as well. Which is quite nice. This is a nice little find with the Cyclone and the Raven, actually killing off the Observer over here. This is actually really cute. What a cute little play there by KeeN, actually. Raven and the Cyclone cleans out the Observer, so now the drop can line up nicely into the natural without being scouted. Problem is, Creator's kind of already aware of the fact that something is happening here, and as he scans, he is just going to be backing away. Creator with the High Templar and the Warp Prism is obviously dangerous if you get feedback off. I actually think that feedback's looking for the Raven, not necessarily the Medivacs, but if you hit the Medivac, it's just going to be the start of a warning sign. Makes drops less likely to succeed. Super fast double starport, by the way. Before 2-2 upgrades, we're actually going to see Liberator range as the choice from KeeN. So he's playing a very fast kind of Liberator style here. And going into a fourth base, so there's something where rather than building Vikings against the Colossus, he's instead just going to go all out onto Liberator production. It could definitely work. It could definitely work out here, so just to see how this will go, as we do see a couple of Widow Mines in this medevac. Currently on the left-hand side, we do see Zealots, Adepts, a couple of Stalkers, Colossus, and an Archon. They're gathered up on the left here as well. The Zealot goes charging in to slice up this Marine. So Marine will be cleaned out. And the medevac coming back down to the bottom side. As we do see the Observer again, just sees that medevac as it boosts on through. A couple of Widow Mines going to begin to unload, and well, they're going to go kaboom in this mineral line any second now. That is a hell of a cleanup. Wow. 12 kills from KeeN. That's a lot of probes that fall for Creator, and that's a really good opener for KeeN here now. So KeeN's got to be happy with that, as obviously I like what Creator's setting up for, by the way. Stargate soon into a fleet beacon, getting an answer to those Liberators, getting Tempest up. The way that KeeN's playing is kind of accelerating us into the later stages of the game already. And that's why kind of Creator is already at 9 minutes going into that fleet beacon here, so again, might seem early, but it's absolutely the right call. When Liberator's on the way up, you need Tempest. Especially when they have Liberator range, because then blinking into them becomes so much more difficult to be, to kind of find any sort of success with, really. KeeN gets his fourth base in position. Now, Creator has got an army out here. It's an army that I think you have to be very careful with. There's no Warp Prism to micro. There is no real protection on the ground if this gets surrounded. Like, there's like 4 Zealots and 2 Adepts. Like, Colossus are good, but they're not gonna, like, solo a massive bio army if it does come in with a bit of a spread on it. I like this drop up the left side as well, mind you. I mean, I feel like there's just, because this army's out in the center, there is units kind of missing at home to defend. This Liberator didn't do much, but it did deny some mining time at the very least. It's just the bio armies of KeeN moving around, going into 2 more command centers. KeeN is just inviting Creator to play the late game. He's almost like, yeah, you know what, buddy, let's play late game. There's something that actually Buddy did against, I believe it was Zest, or it was one of the pros players of Home Story Cup, And Bunny was just like, yeah, you know what, let's play late game. You know, I'm just going to set up late game right from the get-go, and that's exactly what KeeN's done here. I believe it was this map as well, but eventually, I mean, you just kind of let the Frost player get into that position where it's very hard to really do much against their army composition. And that feels like what we're heading towards now as these bio plays get denied once again. This Liberator is doing a good job of picking off a good few probes here. So a few probes going down, and the Tempest finally able to shoot that down out of the sky. 5 more Vikings currently in production. There's a Hallucinate Phoenix from Creator going to go down to the bottom right-hand side of the map. Again, Marines and Marauders are all gathering together, and just those few Liberators setting out the front. Bio drop in the bottom left, going to find a Zeld, find a probe. Hallucination gets picked off, and again, KeeN is going to be running up the right-hand side with those Marauders. A couple more missile turrets. And a command center going to set up on the far right as the Zeld in the top corner is going to get picked off as well. Again, just Tempest, Stalkers, Colossus. And you can see how this army's getting dangerous, right? The introduction of some disruptors as well to keep the bio at bay during the fights too. We're getting into like a nice late game TvP, but I'm just not sure if that's so nice for KeeN. Controlling this army of Ghost Bio Liberators. He's even introducing Vikings as well. Actually, he's been going for a lot of Vikings. He hasn't got many Liberators left. It doesn't make sense, right? As Tempests come up, you kind of do just need to clean out the Tempests, and the Vikings will deal with the Colossus too. Yes, you don't need as many Liberators. The problem is if you just mass Liberators at that point, then the Tempests just have the time of their lives. A single Ghost gets hit by the Revelation. Just looking for maybe that stray EMP. A little bio drop as well on this left-hand side. Maybe going to try and hit this Nexus. There is a High Templar positioning. Try and deal with that. We'll keep an eye on that interaction in the next few moments. The bio stims in and should force, here's the High Templar, right? Stops the storm, hits a feedback. Actually, we'll see the medevac dying. There's another medevac there to do a bit of healing. Vikings are looking for those shots on those Tempests, by the way. Raven comes in, lines up an anti-armor missile. Will connect before we see again shot down by Tempest. Also feedback by the High Templar. He's going to find some Stalkers on the south side of this army. Tempest still firing away. Vikings going to get the War Prism. Not a bad pick off at all. That anti-armor is going to fade away, but KeeN is going to be able to survive the 5th base here. So locking Creator back down to 4 bases. Not a bad start. Creator's obviously looking for this fight, and he should be able to force this fight. This isn't a Protoss army stuck in the corner that can maybe recall out of here. This is absolutely an army that has to fight at some stage. Tell you what, there's no real anti-air to protect those Tempests from the Vikings. These Tempests don't shoot fast enough to deal with Vikings very effectively, so you see the first Tempest going down pretty quickly. This Factory taking a few more shots as well. Factory does now go down again, a bit more bio coming through. There's the Vikings shooting and laying waste to one of those Tempests. The pylons dropping down as well. Again, fun little bit of back and forth here at the moment. KeeN, does he have enough to keep trading here? Good EMPs over the army. Disruptors are going to find the edges of the Terran though. And just shaving off a couple Ghosts. And now this army is really just Vikings and bio, and I just don't think it's enough to truly take a fight. KeeN's been kind of keeping up some supply, but he's not being able to reinforce like Creator has. And so his army on that left-hand side is just way smaller than what Creator's playing with. Love this one Tempest just to clean up these siege tanks. Nothing kind of to go overboard or crazy with. And it just means that Creator's army can continue pushing to the bottom right. This tank goes down. This Liberator already got shot down too. Creator's so good with his Stalker positioning. Finding ways to deal with those Liberators in very annoying positions. Able to make something out of that very easily, as we're going to be seeing. Tempest going through, and well, they're going to pick off a Liberator there. Going to go for another Liberator as well. There's a Lib Siege up bio. Trying to press around. Another Viking shot out of the sky, and Tempest still firing away. Another Liberator picked off. We're going to see Ghost coming forward. EMP drops, but doesn't really land on much. Love these Tempests, man. Look at the damage they're doing. Just Liberator after Liberator going down. And well, that's nice EMPs, and that's kind of what you need. I love this High Templar as well. He's just waiting for those units to come forward to layer the storms, right? So yeah, the Tempests lose some shields, but the reality is there's just not that many Vikings to really make this work out. Disruptor shots to push the bio back at the start of this here. Good EMPs going around. Oh my god, good thing that Disruptor died, because actually it was going to blow up the 2 Dark Templar, which are currently making a lot of work happen over here. Finally a scan, finally some cleaning up, but KeeN has just lost a bit too much. He invited Creator into this style of game, and Creator accepted it with open arms and played it out wonderfully. I mean, Tempest would bang on time, forced KeeN to go in towards Vikings instead. I mean, great. Just patience on the fight on the left-hand side really let KeeN bleed out a little bit before eventually he did just come in for that killing blow. Just a great game by Creator in general. The anonymous donation. Let's love in the chat for the donation, guys. I really do appreciate it. Helps us go, helps us keep going, you know. And I always feel like I always feel in these events, you know, we're just doing these short little qualifiers, but you guys be surprised how much like a small little donation actually changes things. I mean, it's been a pretty slow day, you know, and about an hour of streaming has been, you know, a resub and a small donation. But it does add up. It really does add up, and it goes a long way when it all comes together. So, thank you so much. Just nice to kind of have a shout out every now and then, you know. Bottom right, our Blue Pros player Creator is up against the Red Terran top left KeeN. Let's jump on into game number 2 of this best of 3. So again, this setup and ready to go for the next few moments. As obviously, again, we'll not expect KeeN to go for a fast 3 bases here on Kairos Junction. This is definitely a map where the Terran player can get a lot more aggressive, right? You know, we can go straight across the map, we can push in over here, you can bunker up this area, Marine Tank Banshee pushes are good, Raven Tank pushes are good. You can do so much with Siege Tank pushes basically on this map, so very much expecting a more aggressive opening after the initial expansions have played out. Already the Marine coming down rather than a Reaper to begin with, and that's interesting, means we will have a bit of a faster factory here. The SCV will come and poke and prod at this little probe, drops the CC down, a little bit out of place again. Just that probe being a little bit of a nuisance for as long as possible. Is this best of 3? Yes, best of 3 semi-finals and best of 5 final today. We'll force the players to play the best of 5 no matter what. Why did the stream just go offline? That's back. I hate it when it does that. It gives me a mini heart attack. Stream just when it goes off and on randomly. So, yeah, we'll get the players to play a best of 5 final, is just what I was saying, because, I mean, it's in the rules, and obviously it's a pretty short qualifier otherwise, so these guys shouldn't mind playing the best of 5, even though I always feel a little bit bad making them play the best of 5 when it's just like a qualifier, and the $50 prize is mostly there because it's like a, you know, like a slight added bonus to like give OSC points and stuff like this and to play out the extra rounds. I kind of feel always bad making them play, especially when a lot of them kind of sign up to play just the best, you know, just to qualify for the event. So, yeah, kind of interesting. One sec, guys, just gonna listen to the stream a second. The next few moments is obviously again will not expect. Couple more gateways on the way. Ah, motherfuck! Ow. Sorry. I just did that really smart thing where you just jam your fingers between your desk and your the arm of your chair. Ow. Robot facility starting up in the main base. Couple of extra gates dropping down, and we do see these adepts just shading back actually, so they're a little bit afraid of maybe something being out here. Just wanted to try and see if something's coming. Obviously it's a bit of a weird opening because you never saw a Reaper as Creator, so probably wondering like where is it? You know, is it just waiting to dive in when my adepts leave? And he's just trying to pick up info, see what's coming through. It is going to be Cloak Banshees, so interesting. I mean, Cloak Banshee isn't usually the way you go if you want to go aggressive Marine Tank Banshee push. Obviously Cloak Banshee is a thing in TvP. And it can still create that tank push, but you're usually just looking for the Banshees to be able to just add a lot of damage output, and so you don't really need the Cloak if you're just going for a straight up forward push. This might be something a little bit different here then, out of KeeN is... Yeah, and you know, I guess it works as well, like if the Banshees do show up and there's no detection, right, you know, you will do very well. I see B at the front just trying to scout fit, next is starting from Creator, so... As he gets Blink up, obviously Blink is a very good way to pick away at units as they start to come across the map. Well, KeeN's just going to go into a third base, so as I mentioned, like if you're going for like the more aggressive Marine Tank Banshee, very serious push across the map, you're probably going to see something like a you know, second and third racks and just continue to be aggressive, and probably Cloakless Banshees. But with the Cloak Banshees, it is going to be yeah, if the Cloak Banshees coming in, it is going to be a bit of a different scenario here. Banshee on the way up, and I'm just going to be seeing a couple of extra barracks dropping down as well. Siege tank coming through about to finish here. There's a couple of extra refineries dropping down on the natural expansion. Siege tank here from KeeN pressing it forwards, and the Banshee just going to be moving out through to the center of the map. So moving out to the middle. Sorry, actually missed this Banshee coming in, but he gets one kill, then gets shot out the sky. So Banshee not so successful. Okay, KeeN is going to pull SCVs, and he is going to, not too many, like just 3. He is going to push across the map a little bit with that third base to follow up. Well, let's see. I mean, obviously, we can cancel this third base. That would be very nice. I say cancel, obviously, we'd have to look for a kill. Stalker's coming through the center, but the army's not going through the center. The army's coming over this right-hand side. This is actually kind of bad for Creator, because he might not... Okay, he does realize his army's over here. Tanks need to start sieging up now, because these Stalkers, well, they're going to jump straight on that first tank in the background. No problem at all. Obviously, these Stalkers, their job here is to try and just stop this Nexus from dying, but... Well, bunkers on each side, Stalkers. It's kind of odd for these Stalkers, because obviously reinforcements will come in from the bottom. Stalkers are actually going to position themselves to hit reinforcements, but actually the reinforcements are just staying at home. They don't care to come across the map. But Nexus over here has been killed. And now KeeN has already had a very successful push across, so... KeeN picking up that third base, I think, with, again, just the fact he's got a third CC so fast now makes this extremely good for him, because he can get away with just killing the third and then maybe backing away to some extent. The Banshee is just going to run out of energy. I mean, Observer was there anyway, so it was going to go down no matter what. So we see the depth continuing to shade on through the Stalkers. Pressing in. I mean, here comes the blink through. I mean, eventually you're expecting this sort of attempt of a cleanup, and it's actually a pretty swift cleanup as well, honestly. Even the bunkers don't slow this down. I actually feel like Creative lost barely anything here. Considering the bunkers were here, I was really expecting this to be a lot messier. But yeah, he lost barely anything, like 3 Stalkers, and he lost one of those before that fight, the Adept Board before this fight. Wow, that's actually a hell of a cleanup. He did start to expand back out to the bottom side of the map. Over the War Prism, honestly, I'd go across the map right now as Creator and just try and see if there's ways to deal more damage, because he just cleaned up a lot of the Terran army. Again, factory starport continuing to set up here in the main base. Going to be seeing the Zealots also running around through the center, and yeah, I just feel like, you know, you could have come across here with the Stalkers already, maybe just keep poking and prodding around, right? Things like these depots might not have gotten up as easily, for example, right? And well, we are going to see, I mean, the Stalkers are all at home. Where are the Stalkers? They're all in the main base. They're expecting a drop. It's a very risky push forward from Creator with the Immortal mixed in with these Zealots, so needs to be a little bit cautious with those, honestly. So yeah, just waiting to see what's going to be coming up next, as we do have the few Zealots lifting up into this War Prism, going to come over to the left-hand side. Observer of Creator coming out through the center as well, and again that War Prism is going to be dropping down into the natural expansion here in the next few moments. So a few Zealots going to unload and going to pick their way through these SCVs, so start to deal a little bit of damage. I mean, again, this is what War Prisms are so good at, just going in, USC vehicles, lift up and get out of there. Well, Creators also continue to expand through this bottom side. So, well, KeeN's just going to pull the boy as well. I kind of just wonder what the point of this third base was, right? Like, he's never really gotten anything out of it. I mean, he's not even really built many SCVs off of it. Just some extra mules. Feels like a very kind of weird choice to add all of that in. I tell you what, Creator's about to have Storm. Does he have High Templar? He does have 2. And Storm is so good in this scenario because it just gets rid of those SCVs to start things off already. It actually hits a feedback on the Raven. That's also a great start. Pulling back a lot here. He does have a Storm still available, but the War Prism was Interference Matrix, so it's a little bit tough, and actually pushed all the way up into his main base. Creator is going to lose the natural expansion here, so the natural expansion is going to be taken down. Now the third base is obviously extremely exposed as well. Creator has some few more High Templar he's just added into play. Now, this isn't good for him. He is going to send a lot of Zealots across the map. I'm not sure how much, Zealots across the map are really going to achieve. I mean, like, this army's kind of the problem. You don't really look for a base trade in this scenario. That's very, very strange. I guess he can recall them home, perhaps. After only having some time fighting this with the Stalkers, etc. I mean, this Wolf Cousin's going to go down as well. He is now starting to bring those Zealots back, as we'll see. Stalkers again, just picking up a few units. The problem is this main army of KeeN, with the tanks inside of it as well, is really going to make things tough to deal with. A couple pylons going to be picked away out here. Coretta again, supply blocked as well. Man, nothing just have worked at all for Coretta here. Going across the map with those odds didn't achieve anything. Coming through for High Templar, dropping some storms wherever he can. There's not even energy left on that last High Templar. Coretta's just going to die. Wow. Well, maybe KeeN just saw the opportunity. Usually with Storm, you're kind of okay in attacks like this. He dropped the feedback on the Raven, which I'm not against. But actually, like, he could have stormed SCVs as they came up this ramp, and at that point, he valued himself a few seconds to hold to game 3. Got into King's Cove, so a bit of a larger map here for the final game of the series. So let's start this off. For the top left, our blue Protoss player. This is Creator. Against the red Terran player in the bottom right-hand side, KeeN. This PvT extravaganza we got going on in the semi-finals. We got a PvZ in the other semis. Rogue versus Super going to be happening after this matchup, so that is going to be coming up. Just setting this up and getting this rolling. Next is dropping down in the natural and just seeing what we can do with this, as we do have a Reaper currently from KeeN. Heading up to the top left-hand side, the probe of Creator moving around the bottom right as well, and just looking to see what else is going on. Stargate in that main base. So Creator just getting this set up to roll. As again, Reaper having a good little scout around, gets to see this Nexus on the natural. Coming up towards the third base, gonna see not really much there. Again, Reaper gonna move around, hop up. And again, just trying to see a little bit of what else is happening still. As the Adept doesn't quite get that Reaper kill in the end. Command Center going to be finishing shortly as well, so going to finish that up soon. And again, just more Hellions on the way out here from KeeN, so getting all of this set up and ready to go. Warpgate coming up on that main base. Stargate going to finish also. You're going to see from the Stargate the Phoenix going to get going, so... Yeah, nice fast 2 racks though from KeeN. It's going to be a pretty fast stim, maybe? No? It's just going to be a siege tank, okay. Yeah, I mean, it still will be a fast stim because that second racks will absolutely get into a, getting towards a tech lab and the stim pack upgrade. It's going to be the Cyclone actually, so I guess just a little bit of something to help with anti-air, which obviously in this game would help as well if there was an Oracle, but I mean, Phoenix is actually pretty good against Cyclones because you can just lift up and cancel the lock-ons, so... Yeah, neither amazing nor terrible here at the moment, basically. Is what we're seeing as we do see this Adept is going to be able to pick up that Reaper. So Reaper will go down. Again, those two Hellions also having a bit of a cruise around the map at the moment. Robo Facility just coming up to being about halfway done. Adept shading around. Stimpack will start Starport on the way. Again, these two Hellions around to the left, just keeping map control at the moment more than anything else, just keeping an eye on what is happening in this opener. Making sure there's nothing hidden on the map, or anything crazy along those lines. Adept is taking down those Hellions. We will see Adachi shading away. He's going to be able to perhaps stay alive in all of this. He's going to try and shade through into the main just to see some information. Not really much to be seen, to be fair. I mean, gets the info there's a barracks building up, right? So, yeah. Not a lot to be had as we see. Ooh, that Adept actually was not seen by the Hellions. And now shading is just staying out of vision. The Phoenix actually will see those Hellions as well, but they're mostly there to kind of protect that Adept initially, right? If the Hellions were going to be on top of it, boom, Phoenix left them, and will kill very easily. So the Phoenix now will be able to come across and start dealing some damage here, perhaps. Plenty of Marines in position in the main, however, will deflect that initially. And honestly, good amount of Marines in the cycle and the natural. Good split of units to begin with here from KeeN. Going to stop Creator from getting too much done. Again, this Phoenix coming through the main base. Missile turret is very quick to turn the first Phoenix away there, though. Robo Bay going to be finishing in a moment here. Plus one armor coming down on the forge as well, so that's going to be coming on through. You can just see the differences in this game, right? As Creator took an earlier third, he's also only on a single forge. The Robo Bay was that bit later. Compared to the first game, where, you know, when he just saw the third CC, he was like, okay, third Nexus, double forge, Robo Bay, all at the same time. Obviously, this game he did invest a bit more into those Phoenix, so it's a little bit more gas to just slow down the Robo Bay, etc. But again, just in general, like the third base, just that little bit slow. Just again, single forge too. It's all those little things that actually add up to quite a big difference in how the overall game plays out and the kind of position you get yourself into. Again, I really do imagine this is just because this time, obviously, Creator doesn't see anything too aggressive, too greedy from the start, so he's just playing a pretty standard game for himself. A few of these Marines, the Marauder just unloading off to the side. KeeN is going to be pressing up through the center. Hallucinated Phoenix will take some damage right away as well. So again, there's Bio moving around, trying to see where it can go, what it can do. There's that Colossus just about halfway done as well at the moment. A few extra gateways coming up in the main. Just building up those gateway numbers. As you see more Medevac's on the way out, and there's going to be a Hallucinated Phoenix just nibbling away at that Medevac as well. It's just getting a bit more damage dealt as we see the Widow Mines going up the right hand side of the map. It's a little bit of a drop getting set to go. And there's 3 extra gates coming into the main base. You do see the probe just setting up on the top side. Might actually be able to see this Widow Mine drop coming in. It's kind of weird because this is like a Widow Mine drop. You usually see it like the full 5-minute marker, the first Medevac and 2 mines. Obviously, this is much later, so it's you know, there's definitely going to be more units to pick off those Widow Mines right away if Creator sees it. This Bio Army, by the way, is just ready to hit the natural if he realizes there's too much in the third. Phoenix is going to defend the third base very easily. He is going to stim up here, though, and hey, there's a Colossus there. Man, he didn't know. It's kind of risky, I guess, but actually that Colossus is extremely exposed. He maybe could have dove on that. Obviously, the Colossus on the right wasn't far off. I feel like he probably could have dove this Colossus and just lifted and got out of there. There is no blink on the Stalkers, but I guess, again, you're playing with too much kind of incomplete information. Obviously, for us, it's very easy to look at that and understand, you know, the situation. Obviously, it's a very different scenario when you're in this game as KeeN. Depth shade into the mineral line. They get themselves like an SCV. It's nothing crazy. Yeah, just gonna have a pretty slow-paced game here, right? As we're gonna be seeing the Nexus on the way. So Nexus building up on the 4th base, and we do see again this Bio pressing back out into the middle of the map. See this Hallucinated Phoenix down to the bottom right hand side as well, trying to see just what it can do. Again, a good amount of Bio from KeeN here. Coming up the left hand side again, there's the Land Center dropping down in the center of the map. So again, that's set up and ready to go as well, and again, a couple more Stalkers just going to be finishing. So again, those Stalkers finished up, and again, this Bio Force down the left, trying to see what it can do. Another couple of pylons dropping in over here from Creator. Dark Shrine Robo Facility taking position on the 3rd base. I mean, the 2nd Robo introducing some extra production. I love the switch into Disruptors after just, what is it, 3 Colossus? 3 Colossus, switch up into Disruptors. I mean, Disruptors, a couple of them just add so much to your army. They really keep the Bio play, you know, the Bio army at bay during fights. They can force him to pull back when they don't want to. It can just buy you moments when you need a couple moments at times. Obviously here, KeeN has been just building up a whole bunch of Vikings into some Liberators now and Ghosts as well. We have got a 2nd starport, but it's not on a tech lab and there's no fusion core, so we've yet to see the introduction of Liberator range, so Something that he went very quickly into on Thunderbird is something that he's not going to go into as fast here on King's Skull. Just a different way of playing this out, basically. As you see that Zealot on the right going to get picked off as well. Again, Bio coming up this right-hand side. I mean, this is just Bio on its own, though. The Vikings have been left at home, so there's no way he's looking for a major fight. He's just looking to poke around, and if he finds an opportunity, he'll maybe take advantage of it, but definitely not looking for a head-on fight at all. I don't think he'll find one. I mean, there's no way he's going to push into, like, Creator just sitting back defending, okay? So, as Relic Drive will start up on that Robo Bay. You do see a couple more Disruptors coming through, plus 3 armor and plus 2 attacks continuing to be added in as well. Medivacs and Bio units heading up the left-hand side. A couple of, well, this Dark Templar heading down the left, as we do see the 2 Marauders and the Ghost able to pick up a kill as well. Bio pressing through. Nexus will be killed off, so Nexus going down. We're now going to be seen again. Just a few Marines. They're going to get roasted pretty quickly by those Colossus, so Colossus able to pick that off nice and easily. So we are going to see again the Bio dropping down. Zealot's taking that little bit of extra damage, and Creator is still kind of set to come through the center of the map here. So Creator heading down to the bottom side. Cyclone locks on, just kill off that Zealot. Liberators will siege up as well. And again, there's one Phoenix around the top. Looking to see what else they can do. Vikings again in position to push that Colossus away. So to push that back just a little bit there is again just going to be seeing 2 more Stalkers, the Fleet Beacon, all of this being added in, plus 3 attack, plus 3 armor. Storm as well. Again, a lot of setup still from Creator, honestly, and just a lot of patience right now as he starts up that Fleet Beacon. He will move in towards Tempest again. And you have Storm coming up. He's just well set up, honestly, like to continue through, right? I mean, with the Tempest coming in, the Storm, his upgrades. Obviously, KeeN going up to a 5th base as well. And he's also, I mean, he's obviously having to go here. He hasn't, he lets these maps come through the veto system. He kind of plays towards getting set up into this late game as well, so let's see if he can maybe make something better happen than what he did last time. I will say, I feel like right away this time, from the start, it just feels like he has all of his units together, whereas last time it kind of felt like he'd lost a little bit before the fights could even really start. Oh no, those Stalkers, they want to be careful there, as Marauders will find themselves a kill. Stalkers do have the blinkers, just wondering there for a moment. Ooh, nice Disruptor though, finds a Ghost on the right-hand side. Again, just going to be seeing that army gathering on the top, and well, Liberators are thinking about how they want to do things. The Disruptor shot will not connect. Now we're going to be seeing the Libs setting up a little bit differently here now. Disruptor doesn't really connect at all. Bio pressing forwards. Actually kills that High Templar. Not sure what that was aiming for. Disruptor's obviously trying to buy some time. Love this. The Vikings finding an opportunity to get a Colossus, but the Phoenix will save it. Creator's been backed into a corner. He just doesn't have the Tempest up just yet to really push those Liberators away. It's almost like he's being a little caught off guard by the Liberators. He was so good at getting them up in time from that first game, but this game, again, just a little bit later with them. We'll clean up this one that comes very far forwards. Still using those Disruptors just to push back units. Oracle goes down as well, so loses the Revelation possibility. And KeeN on this top side of the map is making a lot happen, I feel. I mean, if this ground army goes down, the Tempest in the background, they just disappear, because then there's nothing to stop the Vikings flying forwards, although there's actually only 2 Vikings left. It is just kind of this kind of boxing in effect of the Liberators that's causing trouble at the moment. I mean, a couple of Disruptor shots coming down again. Actually hits nicely onto the Bio this time, so KeeN will lose a bit more than before. And it looks as though Creator's probably going to be able to save this, save himself this game for the moment. Did lose the 5th base though, and he's going to probably lose the natural as well. It's a lot of Marauders, and that's going to be a dead base in an instant, so Nexus will go down. I mean, that's obviously very painful because you just lost your 5th base too, so now you're missing a lot of mining. Can Creator capitalize? Can you get any more kills here? I mean, these Marauders drop off, because actually these are Stalkers, so Marauders I kind of felt could kind of just turn and chase there. It's going to be another blink in a moment. The Medivacs, they do have boost, but they're not using it. Creator also doesn't use his blink, so just one of the Medivacs going down when it definitely could have been more. First 2 Stalkers, first 2 Liberators, sorry, going down pretty quickly there. Another Disruptor shot towards the Marauders on the top side. The Vikings should be in some trouble, but these Stalkers are just wandering around, move commanding. Oh, that was actually a little bit messy, but obviously in the end he is still going to clean all of this up, and it looks like KeeN is just not going to have the numbers anymore Man, I love the way that fight started out for him, but he just wasn't able to press the issue in time, and suddenly Creator turns this around, comes across the map, and again, very similar to Thunderbird. Creator just with a lot of patience, and then eventually just turning it around and saying, okay, well, let's go. Here we go. I mean, a Disruptor Shot, going to find 2 Ghosts and Marauder. Good pick off there as you see Stalkers, Colossus. I mean, all of this just going to press on chords, and this is going to be pretty much game. I mean, that orbital gets blown up as well. Damn. Damn. I just kind of really believed in there being something extra in all of this. You see Tempest firing away, hitting a Viking Disruptor Shot. Doesn't quite connect. SCVs are going to start pulling in right now. These SCVs from the top side, I mean, it's a massacre. Looks like Creator will be going to our finals today. Play against either Rogue or Super. That's going to be our next semi-final up. Best of 3 PPZ coming in. As this series completes in the next few moments, I'd imagine. Doesn't look like KeeN will even be able to push back this one army. For a moment, it looked like maybe he was making some progress down that ramp, but the Colossus is just picking up kill after kill. The DTs as well, by the way, just slicing their way through things because these Marauders just aren't killing them fast enough. To be very frank about it. Good micro on the prison, by the way. Kept the Colossus alive for a long time to give them. I just checked about 40 kills between the two. Great job by Creator, and KeeN unfortunately will fall in the semi-finals, but a very fun semi-final to watch. Very glad that we got to see this one because Creator really showed us